mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about the fourth entry in the Matrix series from Warner Brothers entitled The Matrix Resurrections. This new film was released both in theaters and on HBO Max. I watched it on HBO Max. I don't need to get out of the house that bad. I went to go see Spider-Man in the theater, so I was perfectly fine watching this from home. This fourth entry in the franchise comes, oh man, I don't even know how long after the original trilogy. I believe the first film came out in 1999, and then I feel like maybe like 2002, 2003, something like that was when it wrapped up. The next two came out, I think, like back to back or even in the same year, something like that, which I want to say was 2002, 2003. So it's been nearly 20 years since we've had a new Matrix movie. This first one, not this first one, this new one is directed by Lana Wachowski. Before the original three were directed by what at the time was referred to as the Wachowski brothers. They both since transitioned and they're now referred to as Lana and Lily. Lana is the only one involved in this one. It's not a Wachowski's collaboration, but all that to say, we still have the original, at least one half of the original team that worked on this film working on this one. So a little bit of a very, very, very brief background for me, just to kind of lay context into what I'm going to say about this new film, is that I absolutely love the first Matrix movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, and it's because it was so new, it was so fresh, it was so creative, it was so groundbreaking, it was innovative. I'd never seen anything like this. It was so much fun. The special effects were groundbreaking. Everything about it was incredible. The second two, I could do, whatever. But the first one is always going to hold a dear place in my heart. Watching the trailer for this new one, I was worried. I'm like, this looks like it's going to be the same movie again. Like, why does it seem like they're introducing Neo to the Matrix again? And it seems like it's a reboot almost, like it's starting over. And that concerned me because, well, one, I don't want to see the same movie again. But two, the fact that they combine that with the fact that he still looks like John Wick and not like Neo makes me feel like they knew that they didn't have a good script. And they were like, okay, we got the Matrix franchise here. We got the name going for us. We got, Neo in this movie. We got Trinity in this movie. We got what we need to pull in the Matrix fan base. But let's keep them looking like John Wick because that shit's so popular right now. And we can bring in the John Wick people maybe who don't know any better. Because, it's been 20 years since the original. There's people who are going to be watching this that weren't even born when the original came out in 1999. And that, to me, the idea of capitalizing on the name, capitalizing on the two main characters, capitalizing on the fact that John Wick is a popular franchise right now by having him look like John Wick and nothing like Neo, made me think like, oh, they must have a bad script. So I went into this movie expecting it to be bad. And I didn't really have too much to go off of on that. I felt like the trailers didn't say too much. We still had one of the Wachowskis involved. But that's how I felt going into it. But even then, I always enter everything with an open mind. I know that's probably hard to believe, but as much as I do this, I can go into something thinking it's going to suck and have it be great. And I can go into something thinking it's going to be great and being incredibly disappointed. Within about the first half hour of this one, I thought, you know what, Mike, you might be wrong about this. This has the potential to be fucking incredible. And I was not wrong. This movie was a piece of shit. There's so much wrong here. And here's the thing. This is what makes this movie so... There's a number of things that make this movie bad. But the main thing about it is that it's a complete rehash of the first movie, but it's a shameless rehash. And not only that, it's lesser in every way than the original was. Throwing away the fact that you have 20 plus years of additional technology, film knowledge, if you're Lana Wachowski, you have all of these things to go off of to where maybe at the very least you get improved special effects or improved fight choreography. But no, this movie was the complete opposite of everything that made the first Matrix great. Despite the fact it blatantly copied the first one to a point where it's not just like think of Star Wars, The Force Awakens. A lot of people didn't like The Force Awakens because it was essentially the same as A New Hope, thematically, conceptually. Like, you had new characters that were kind of cool. You had cooler characters, not cooler than the original, but like still cool characters. You know, you had Kylo Ren looked pretty cool. You know, people like Rey, people like Finn. You definitely had much better special effects than you had in, was it 1977, 1979, when the first one came out, or episode 4 or whatever. You had that going for Force Awakens. This is a much more blatant rehashing of the first Matrix, to the point where, I mean, shot for shot comparisons, constant re-envisionings of the exact same fight or sequence. And what makes it even worse is what they did that made me have hope for the movie in that first hour. What they did was, I'm going to talk a little bit about the plot here. Even though I'm not going to spoil the movie at all, but I mean, I need to talk about the plot. It's been one of my few non-spoiler videos. But essentially, the plot starts off with, we're, you know, again, 20 or so years in the future. Neo is in the Matrix, living his life, not knowing anything that happened in the previous 3 movies. And he's a video game programmer. And he made a trilogy of video games based on the Matrix. Like, we know, well, I can't say based on, it's based on the Matrix. To him, for us, it's based on the Matrix. But for him, he just made a series of video games, and he doesn't know that the video games are what happened to him in real life. And they use this very effectively at the beginning to make me think they're going to do something real creative, because the whole thing is kind of like a wink at the audience almost. You have, there's a scene in particular that I really liked, which is what made me think that this movie was going to take a turn and become something really creative and groundbreaking. And it's a scene where they're kind of like, Neo's been told that they're going to make a 4th Matrix video game. And so they're kind of like, him and his team are kind of like brainstorming what they need to do to make this game good. And they say things like, we need to breathe some new life into the franchise. We need to be groundbreaking again, like we did with Bullet Time and the first game, like directly citing all of the things that made the first movie great. And the fact that they were kind of like almost breaking the 4th wall with that, it was very meta, this film, at the very beginning. And when I say the very beginning, I mean maybe like the first hour. It was very meta. Like, they're talking about the video games, but it speaks directly to the lore of the franchise as well. And the fact that they were saying that let me know, like, okay, they know that for this film to be successful, it needs to be as groundbreaking, if not more so, than the first one. And I thought, like, what's going to be the twist here? Because when I think of the first one, I think of like the bullet time stuff, incredible fight choreography, in tune with like incredible, like really hype, fun music. Even the lesser movies, the next 2 had really great moments in them, really great special effects, where they seemed like they turned it up a little bit for the sequels, even though they were lesser in quality. But, you know, that whole brainstorming session, I'm like, this is a great scene, because I was like, I feel like I'm in the Matrix, because they're speaking the things that I was already thinking going into this. So I'm like, they know what my concerns are, and they know what they need to do to make this movie great. And then they completely give you the middle finger and do none of that, give you the exact same thing, where to the point where it's like, oh, I remember this from the original where they were fighting in the subway. This is like that. Oh, here's Agent Smith, but it's not Agent Smith. Here's Morpheus, but it's not really Morpheus. Here's like, it's so fucking stupid. And like, they do this throughout the whole movie. Really, the whole movie really is just how do we get Trinity out of the Matrix again? That's the plot, essentially. When you rifle through all the sci-fi mumbo jumbo that means jack shit, and it's just them using fancy words to explain absolutely nothing. Once you sift through all that, it's really just a movie about Neo is back in the Matrix. How do we we can get him back out now? All right, now let's get Trinity back out. That's the idea. And they rehashed the whole first movie doing that almost on a shot-for-shot basis. And now when I talk about it's actually lesser than in every way that made the Matrix great, let's talk about no innovation or creativity or groundbreaking anything whatsoever. There's nothing not spectacular. There's nothing good about this movie, but there's nothing that, when I think about the first Matrix, I think this was some game-changing type shit, that first one. Nothing game-changing here. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the stuff that they even try to do is worse. So like when you think of the Matrix again, I think of like really cool action sequences. They don't even have, well, one, the best action sequences are ones that again mirror action sequences from the original movie. And then when they try to do new stuff, all it is Neo doing like a force push, like from Star Wars. He just does that over and over, like the thing where he puts his hand up and stop the bullets in the first one. That's all he does. He does that to push people, and he does it to block bullets. That's it. There's no cool fight scenes. Like for half the movie, he doesn't even remember how to do fighting at all. And you want to know how he does figure it out? They redo again the scene in that like dojo between him and Morpheus fighting. They do that again, and then all of a sudden he kind of like remembers how to fight again. But even then, we don't see too much cool fighting. Like I said, when we do, it's the same shit we already saw, but lesser. He breaks out this force push and all that kind of shit. Nothing spectacular there. And then they don't even have like improved special effects. Like, you know, I feel like they raised the bar with those three movies every time with the special effects. Like, let's do something newer, let's do something fresher, let's do something more risky or exciting. This doesn't do anything even remotely, not even original, much less groundbreaking or innovative or better. It's just dumb and boring. Like it was a point where my feelings during this movie was like the first half hour, I'm like, this could turn into something good because they're clearly almost trolling us how meta this is with what they need to do. So the fact that they know what they need to do makes me think that they're going to do something totally new and groundbreaking, yada, yada, yada. Another half hour passes. I'm at the hour point at this point, and none of this has happened yet. And I'm like, there was some scene, I don't even remember what scene it is now, but there was some scene where I thought, okay, after this, it either needs to become something new and fresh and exciting, or it's either going to do that, or it's going to stay being this carbon copy, this shameless carbon copy of the original. And it stayed that shameless carbon copy, but again, lesser because it didn't have cool fight scenes. It didn't have cool special effects. And all Neo did was this force push. So it didn't change at all. And it got to the point where you look at that first half hour and I was encouraged. By about an hour and a half, I didn't even want to watch it anymore. I'm like, I don't even want to watch this. Like, this isn't even interesting. I already saw this movie 20 years ago, but better. Why the fuck would I watch it now? Again, like I wanted to turn it off. I'm like, there's nothing interesting to me here. And like once they finally got into something that was kind of like new material, which was again just breaking Trinity out of the Matrix, they explain the plan so clumsily that I don't even like watching it. I can't even follow like what's actually happening. It's so bad. Like I can't like there's nothing redeeming about this. And I understand I might be one of those people again where I'm the outlier where for some reason I don't like the thing that everyone else seems to like. Even though I'm sitting here right now in front of you for approximately 15 minutes telling you why I don't like it. Whereas, you know, people who are going to argue with me and never be like, oh, it was great. They can't give you a 15-minute explanation for why. But never mind that. Like, I'm sitting here giving you 13 minutes of why I don't like this. I might be the outlier, maybe everyone else will like this, but I can't envision how anyone can watch this and feel like it was time well spent. Like, I liked this movie when I saw it 22 years ago, and it was better in every single possible conceivable way. There is no way in which the original Matrix is not superior to this one. And this is an exact carbon copy. And it is inferior in every conceivable way. There is nothing redeemable or good about this movie. Nothing. If you want a good Matrix movie, just watch the first one. Watch the first one and you basically saw this one too. So it's a complete fucking waste of time. I'm so glad I did not see this in theater. So, I mean, that's my spoiler-free review. If you listen to me and you think, he probably doesn't know what he's talking about, I'm going to watch it anyway. And then you watch it and it sucks, don't blame me. Only blame yourself for wasting nearly 2.5 hours watching the same fucking movie again with, that feels very little like The Matrix as far as Neo goes. It just looks like John Wick. He doesn't do anything cool. He just does his force push and that's it. And there's no cool special effects. There's no cool fight scenes. There's very little new information, just some mumbo jumbo at the end about how to get Trinity out. And for the first hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes, it's the same fucking movie as the first one, but worse. So, sorry if that's if that's something you don't agree with, or if that's disappointing for you to hear. But I really went into this with an open mind, and in that first 30 minutes, I thought this might be worth a damn. Like, this might shut me up. This might actually be a really good movie. They are so aware of what needs to be happening now, and they're actually fucking with us about it. So this might be worth it. It was not. Don't watch this movie. You've already seen it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.